So, if anybody's interested, I've been building a CNC machine. I built a small one to begin with last year, and it would do about 10 inches square overall. And although it worked pretty good, it was really limiting size-wise, and it was my first time building one, and I really didn't know quite what I was doing, so there were a lot of things that I wanted to improve on. One being mobile gantry. The other one had a mobile bed on it that would go back and forth, and on this one the gantry goes back and forth, which I think is a much better design, especially on a bigger machine, because it'll take up less space overall. So anyway, I'm going to give you a little tour of it. I bought a Makita, it's a laminate router on eBay for 78 bucks. They're recommended because they have variable speed control, and they go down to 10,000 RPMs, and they're supposed to be very durable, and they're not too noisy. So good choice there, I think. I went with NEMA 17 stepper motors. They're 269 ounce, which is a fairly powerful motor for NEMA 17. For such a small motor, they have a lot of holding torque. Okay, I used worm gear drive on it. This stuff you can buy out of China. It's 8 millimeters around, 4-start Acme thread machine screw, and I used 2 of them on the bottom to run the gantry back and forth with, and 1 on the X that goes from that motor on that end that you can just see over to a bearing on this end, and that works really nice. And then 1 8 millimeter shaft running the Z-axis that makes it go up and down, and that's inside behind that plate where you can't see it. And I used roller bearings all around. They're just a common rollerblade replacement roller bearings. You can get them online, eBay, for like $5 for like 10 of them. So I bought 20 of them. Wow, big deal. And I just bought some MDF to use for the bed. I'm going to put 2 layers down. One's going to be for the stationary bed that will hold everything in place, and then I'm going to put another sheet on top that I'm going to cut to level using the router so that it's accurate all the way across. I bought cable chain to run all my cables through. It makes for a much neater job than having them dangling everywhere. I think it's going to work out real nice. I made these trays up. They're just, there's something I found, I think they're like curtain ballasts or something from Home Depot. There was a package of 2 of them, 4 feet long, for like 12 bucks. So those worked out nice to make the trays out of. Cut them to length and just screwed them on there. Everything is made out of scrap aluminum that I found. I didn't buy any aluminum. It's just stuff that it was one big chunk that had a lot of odd shapes to it, and including these C-channels. And I cut them all out with my table saw and the bandsaw, and just made all the pieces, fabricated everything from like a couple of pieces of scrap. I used an old computer case to hold all my electronics. It's a computer power supply. It's a 400 watt. I think it probably puts out 8 or 10 amps, which is plenty for these motors, it turns out. It's got the Arduino board in it. I don't know if you can make it out here or not. The Arduino board with what they call the Arduino shield on top that has 4 stepper motor drivers on it. Took a while to get that all configured and get the wiring correct. Got a cooling fan on that, and that's basically it as far as inside of the box goes. I have a nice cover that fits on it. I taped it up so that dust doesn't accumulate in there so readily. It's going to have vent holes in the back cover here, and it blows out through the power supply here. And there's an off-on switch right there, which makes that convenient. I already had this bench made up for a table saw, so I had an outlet wired to it, so I'm just going to use that outlet, and it runs off the yellow cord that's plugged in, and try to run everything off of that outlet if I can, just to save cords running all over the shop. And that's the basic tour. I'm going to shut the video off while I load a little program in here, and then I'm going to show you some footage of it running. Alrighty then. I love this part. When the stepper motors are running right, they make cute little notes. And the reason for that is each step produces a different frequency. It runs on a different frequency. So when the motor is vibrating with that frequency, it puts out a note. That one steady pitch you can hear is because the top stepper motor isn't moving, but it's holding position. Because when they're electrified, they hold. They have torque on them. They won't turn until they're told to turn. But they won't spin easily either. Pretty cool. Okay, well there you have it. Don't want to bore you too bad.
Sorry. Oh my God.
Let's get out of here.